ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಮಸ್ ಈವಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ರಿಕ್ಕಿ ಕೇಜ್ ಅವರ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋಲಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇವರ ಜೊತೆ ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಮಾತನಾಡೋದು ಬಾಕಿ ಇದೆ. ಇವರು ICC ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ನ ಥೀಮ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಕೂಡ ಕಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ಸೋಣ. ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ರಿಕ್ಕಿ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್.
ಓಕೆ, ಕಳೆದ ವರ್ಷ ಢಾಕಾಲಿ ನಡೆದಂಥ ICC ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಸೆರೆಮನಿಲಿ ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಥೀಮ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಪ್ರೈಡ್ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್?
Of course, it's a very overwhelming experience, and I was really sincerely happy that the ICC cricket board chose me to compose music for the ceremony. So I was quite excited when I got the call, but they told me that it was 40 minutes of music for all the dances and all the other cultural programs, and I had only 5 days to compose the entire music. So I had to cancel all my other work, and in 5 days I had to gather musicians and I had to record the entire thing. And it's very difficult to compose for an opening ceremony because when you're composing for film, you're looking at the visuals. Like when you're doing background scores, you're looking at the visuals and you're composing music. Here you have to imagine the visuals. Like, you know, the dancers are going to come in and there's going to be pyrotechnics, there's going to be fireworks, there's going to be lasers and stuff like that. Everything has to be imagined and you have to compose music. So it's almost like doing a background score backwards. No? So you have to start with doing the music and then they do everything according to that. So, and it was a very successful opening ceremony because it was the second most watched sporting ceremony ever in the history. It was the highest watched sporting ceremony was the Beijing Olympics. This was the second. So it was very good. It was telecast in 250 countries and I think 1.5 billion people watched it. And of course, cricket in India is a religion. Yes. It's huge, and you know, getting my music out to all the cricket fans was a great experience because it's an audience that you're reaching out to who would normally not listen to your music. But here I got so many people to listen to my music.
Okay, in moving on, ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು international music ಅನ್ನ ಕೂಡ ಕಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ. But which is the most favorite international music you have composed so far? I mean, you will have personal favorites, alva? Them a favorite?
Anything that has to do with Indian fusion, I love. Because I mean that of course since I've been into Western classical, the thing is that I'm very, very fascinated by Hindustani classical and Carnatic classical. So I try to, you know, blend Hindustani classical with Western classical or with popular Western music, that is with electronic music and with techno music and stuff like that. So anything that is a mix and fusion of different genres, that's something that excites me.
ಇನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಾ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ನೀವು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವೆಂಕಟ ಎನ್ ಸಂಕಟ, ಹಾಗೆ 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿಲಿ 2 ಪ್ರೀತಿ, ಇನ್ನೇನು ಸಿನಿಮಾ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ಚಿತ್ರಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ವಾ, ನೀವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೂವೀಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಅಪ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ವಾ?
See, the thing is that for me, as I told you, my major work is doing other stuff, like that is jingles and doing the international work and doing music for events. Now the thing is that I love working for cinema and love working for Kannada movies, and I love and I think that the directors who I've worked with are fantastic directors. But the thing is that it's just the problem about time. Like so I try to take on one film a year, and I've been steadily doing that since 2008, trying to take up one film a year. So that I'm going to continue doing always. And as long as people accept the kind of music that I'm doing and, like, you know, and listen to the kind of music and accept me for doing the music, I would love doing music. But as soon as people stop listening to my music, obviously I'll have to stop doing Kannada movies.
Kannada cinema music allade ನೀವು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಪೇಟ್ರಿಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಸಾಂಗ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಫ್ಲೇವರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವ ನೀ ಬದಲಾದರೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಾಂಗನ್ನ ಕೂಡ ಕಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಹೌ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್? ಅಂದರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು?
ನೀ ಬದಲಾದರೆ was based on a single phrase which was said by Mahatma Gandhi, that is, be the change you want to see. So that's something that always stuck in my mind, that, you know, all of us talk about, you know, changing the world and doing this to the world and, you know, this is wrong in the world, but nobody ever talks about changing themselves. So I got together with Kavi Raj, the famous lyricist, and both of us sat together and we decided that we have to make a song on this. So he wrote beautiful lyrics for it, and then I composed a tune, I composed a melody for it, and then I talked to a couple of people. I talked to B. Jayashree madam, who I'm a huge fan of, and I admire her a lot, not only for her music but for her theatre, and now that she's a member of parliament, and the amount of work that she's doing for the country is amazing. And so her, then I spoke with MD Pallavi, who is one of my favorite singers. Then I spoke with Avinash Chebbi, with Hemant, with Ellen Shastri, and with Rajesh Krishnan. All 6 of us got, I mean 6 singers and me got together, and we created the song, and about being the change that you want to see, about, like, you know, changing yourself first and then trying to change the country and then the world. So the song did really well. We got a lot of support from television channels, including yours. And what happened is that for the first time ever in the Kannada music industry, a non-film song was #1 on the countdown for almost 5 weeks. I mean, more than 5 weeks actually. It was number one on the countdown, and that was like a huge boost for me. That that musicians don't have to stick to the film industry to actually create music. You can just create your music and put it out there, and people will listen to it.
ಬದಲಾಗುವುದು ಈ ಲೋಕ ನೀ ಬದಲಾದರೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗುವುದು ಈ ಸಮಾಜ ನೀ ಮೊದಲಾದರೆ ನವ ಭಾರತವ ಕಟ್ಟುವ ಆಣೆಯ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಜನಗಣಮನ ಮೊಳಗಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಡೆ ಇಂದು
ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಬಣ್ಣವ ತುಂಬೋ ಪ್ರತಿಯದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಛಲಬಲ ಸ್ಥೈರ್ಯವ ಜನಗಣ ಮನ ಮೊಳಗಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಡೆ ಎಂದು ಜನಗಳ ಮನ ಸಮ್ಮೇಳಗೊಳ್ಳಲಿ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಬಣ್ಣವ ತುಂಬು ಪ್ರತಿಯದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಛಲಬಲ ಸ್ಥೈರ್ಯವ ತುಂಬು ಪ್ರತಿ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಬಣ್ಣವ ತುಂಬು ಪ್ರತಿಯದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಛಲಬಲ ಸ್ಥೈರ್ಯವ.
ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಲೇಬೇಕು, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನೀ ಬದಲಾದರೆ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ಫಿಲ್ಮಿ ಸಾಂಗ್, ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ 5 weeks ಆದ್ರೂ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಡೌನಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೈಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಐ ನೋಟಿಸ್ಡ್, ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಅನ್ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಕಂಪೋಸರ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವರ್ ಅ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಕಂಪೋಸರ್, ಇವಾಗ ಹರಿಕೃಷ್ಣ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಗುರು ಕಿರಣ್ ಸರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹೀಗೆ ಅವರು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಮೂವೀಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಒಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಎವ್ರಿ 6 months ಅವರ ಮೂವೀಸ್ಗಳು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಯೋರ್ ಓನ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಕಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Mr. Hari Krishna's work, and I'm a huge fan of Guru Kiran sir's work also. And I've met them a couple of times, and I really like the way they do the music. But the thing is that for me, my style is completely different in the sense that number one is that I do not work on a bank, like in the sense that I do not have a lot of tunes with me, which I give out. I prefer to sit with the director, and like all my previous directors, they will they will always vouch for this, that I always try to sit with them and I try to figure out what's there on their mind. What's the exact situation in the movie, and based on that I try to create music, and I try to create music that's custom made for the movie, not just like a generic love song or a generic item song or whatever. Everything is composed exactly for the movie. And for me also it's a little difficult for me to find directors who like that approach, because I take a little longer time to make my music. So I guess as you said, I'm a little unconventional when it comes to music, and for me music always has to be expression of myself. Like it's almost like a language. Like for example, as I told you, I'm very bad with languages, in the sense that the only language that I know is English, and I don't know any other language so to speak, but I can understand a couple of languages. So things that my language is music, in the sense that I love expressing myself through music, and I love getting my emotions out through music. So that's always going to be there, and that's going to be a little difficult to make that kind of music commercial.